What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another comic video. Today we're looking at comic link auctions that ended on Monday, December 13th. All of these books are going to be from 1992 until 1999 because we're only looking at early modern. I don't know why, but I'm always drawn to looking at 9.8s of the books from the 90s because there's so many of them out there that they've printed, and you can still get these in the back issues or walls of comic stores, but the prices aren't going to be that high because they made so many. So it is very interesting to see when these books spike up, because then you see just how high they go and you can still get them, fairly low. Of course, there's some exceptions on the secondary market. Before we get started, you can please like, subscribe. It'll help me out a lot. Okay, so this first batch of books we're going to look at are SpiderMan symbiote keys, I guess you could say. So the first one you see here is Amazing Spider-Man number 360. Also, all of the pictures you're going to see are images of the actual books that sold, so you can see what they look like, and look at their certain numbers and whatnot. But this is the first cameo appearance of Carnage. The final sale was $345 with a 90-day average of $208. As you can see, it has been dropping, obviously, since the Venom Let There Be Carnage movie has been basically out of everyone's radar, out of everyone's mind. So the book has kind of dropped, but if you look at the sale here, it went for $345. That's very interesting. I don't know if it's an outlier, but that is high for a book that has been dropping. The next one is the first full appearance of Carnage, Amazing Spider-Man number 361, again from 1992. The final sale is $765. with a 90-day average of $720, and that is on a downward trend as well. Again, it's the same thing. The movie's come and gone, and this book is kind of getting cool now. I remember when building up to the movie, this was going for over $1,000 quite easily, and newsstands going for much more. So this has definitely dropped. I think it's going to drop even more because, like I said, it is a 90s book, so there are plenty out there in high grade. I'm not sure, but if you look at this picture, it says CVA. It's like a certified sticker that they, like a third-party company from, that's not, and it has nothing to do with CGC, which is also itself a third-party grading company. But whereas CGC grades the book, CVA grades the presentation of the graded book. So if it gets that sticker, it's supposed to be like it presents the best. It's well-centered. Nothing really wrong with it, whatever. So I don't know if it has any effect on it, but $765 is, I guess, a little above what the 90-day average is. But I think this is still going to drop. All right, moving on. We have Amazing Spider-Man number 362, the second appearance of Carnage. And this is also a 9.8. All the books are going to be 9.8 because that's really what we're only going to be looking at when it comes to the modern age books, because, it should be a lot easier to get these in 9.8s. Anyway, the final sale of this was $325 with a 90-day average of $207, which is on a downward trend again. One thing to note, though, if you look at the picture here, it is a newsstand edition, so that definitely increases the price. So I think that's what made this price go much higher than what the 90-day average is, because it's over $100, so it's definitely because of the newsstand. But, iconic cover, all three of them on there, Carnage, Venom, Spider-Man. But I think this book will still continue to dip. And then there will be a new baseline for it for when we see maybe Carnage again at some point. Maybe in Across the Spider-Verse, or maybe in the MCU. Okay, moving on. We have Amazing Spider-Man 365, which is the Spider-Man 2099 preview, is like I like to call it. I know a lot of people like to think that this is the first appearance, which it technically is because it came out before the 2099 number 1. But this is... in there, it's just a preview of 2099 number 1. So in reality, 2099 number 1 is the first appearance. But whatever, let's not get into that. The final sale was $325 with a 90-day average of $363. It's on a downward trend. However, I think this will still see a lot of interest because of the Across the Spider-Verse trailer hype. All the 2099 stuff has been just super hot, and this is no exception. So you can see the price. It's pretty high. I think that's actually really high for me, for a preview, in my opinion. But nonetheless, this book should still be hotly contested on the auctions. All right, next is Amazing Spider-Man 375, which is the first appearance of Anne Wang, which is the She-Venom. It's also the iconic gold cover there with a holographic cover from 1993. Final sale was $141 with a 90-day average of $156. There isn't really a key. That's why you can see the price. It's $156 versus $141. So I think this is about what it would be. A book like this would be around $150 or so. I'm sure you could get a ton of these out there for not much more than cover price, in my opinion, if you just look hard enough, because this isn't that much of a key. But it is a cool book, cool cover, Spider-Man vs. Venom. All right, moving on. Now let's get into some of the MCU and DCU keys and specs. So right now we have Daredevil number 9 from 1999. It's the first appearance of Maya Lopez, Echo. Right now this book is pretty hot because of the Hawkeye show and the looming Echo series that's coming out on Disney Plus sometime, maybe next year. The final sale was $675 with a 90-day average of $766, and that's on an upward trend. Obviously, this is going to be the book to get for Maya Lopez, Echo, and she will be a very big part of bridging the gap from Netflix over to the MCU Disney Plus platform. So the book should maintain. You can see it went down a little bit, but I think because the show is come and it's basically going to be done, because it's going to be the last episode in a week, and then we'll forget about her, and then this will probably dip to around the 600, maybe a little bit less. But then when her show comes back, you see a trailer, any kind of pictures, anything, casting, then this will probably jump right back up. This book should easily be $1,000 book by the time her show comes out, because if she is a main character in the MCU, bringing in the Daredevil cast, then there's no reason why this can't be towards that $1,000 mark. All right, we have first appearance of Thunderbolts here, Incredible Hulk number 449, 1997. Final sale $655 with a 90-day average of $727, and that's on an upward trend. Part of it is because we see Yelena Belova, the Hawkeye, and of course all the little Easter eggs that keep dropping that they're gonna get a Thunderbolts project going at some point has always made this book on the radar. I remember when this book in the summer peaks, when they really were all the spec market, everybody's leaning towards Thunderbolts here. This was over $800, maybe $900. Now it's dropped to $727, but it's still on an upward trend over the last 90 days. This should still maintain until they either drop it when it's going to tank, or they're going to announce it and it's going to spike. But until then, it's going to maintain, maybe go up or down based off of whatever new movies, appearances of characters from the Thunderbolts appear on Disney Plus or MCU silver screen projects. This will go up and down based on that. All right, then we have a Moon Knight spec here. This is Mark Spector Moon Knight number 60. Personally, I like this. This was the series that I liked back then, mainly because I like Stephen Platt, because he reminds me of Todd McFarlane. But anyway, it's the final issue, and it's Stephen Platt cover. Great artist. Final sale $170, 90-day average $146. And just on a tangent here, just a side note, when this came out, when number 55, I believe, or 56, when he first drew Moon Knight, and there was Spider-Man on the cover, it just really invoked Todd McFarlane, and he became the hottest artist during that time for a while, and then he went over to do Prophet. Anyway, you can see, this book, there isn't really a key when you think about a Moon Knight, but because Moon Knight's so hot, it's still, you can see it's trending up a little bit, 170, and the 90 days 146. So this might even go up even more until we see more Moon Knight, because Werewolf by Night, Marvel Spotlight 28, even Moon Knight number 1 from 1980, all of those are starting to get pricey, and they're starting to price people out, whereas this is still relatively affordable, under $200, and it's still a Moon Knight key issue, I guess you could say. So when you see that Moon Knight number 1 reached that $1,000 mark, which it has been reaching already, people have to move on to something else. All right, so moving on to the next one, we have a DC EU keybook spec. This is Superboy number 9 from 1994, first appearance of King Shark. Final sale $160, 90-day average $208, downward trend. We knew this was going to happen, right? Because once the Suicide Squad came and went, this book was going to tank. so to speak, because the book only spiked because we saw King Shark in the show or in the movie. If they do anything with him, this will spike again. But because this is in a 90s book where they made a ton of it, 1994 is like right in the middle, the meat of when they printed a whole bunch of these. So this should drop even more, I believe. You might even get this just over $100 if and when we really get farther and farther away from Suicide Squad. And then of course if we see him again, if they do a third Suicide Squad movie, then this will spike again. So that's just the nature of the beast, especially with these 90s books where there's so many of them. The waves on this just goes up and down, like a lot more frequent and prevalent than other books because there's just so many of them. All right, and then we have Batman number 497 from 1993. Bane breaks Batman's back. The iconic cover from Nightfall storyline. Final sale was $325 with a 90-day average of $401, and it's on an upward trend. I know a lot of people have been kind of talking about Bane possibly coming into the DC or the Batman movies with Robert Pattinson. I think they're trying to set it up to where Bane will appear there at some point. That's the spec. So because of that, Vengeance of Bane number 1, Vengeance number 2, Joker number 2, where First Prince of Vengeance, Bane's daughter, and now we have this Batman number 497, where iconic Bane breaking Batman's back. Maybe we might see that again, but that's why this book has been really going up, and I think this is pretty high for a minor key. 325, 401. It's not really like a first appearance of anything major. It's just a big event and a great cover. Norm Brayfogle, man. Okay, then we have Spawn number 1 from 1992. First appearance of Spawn. The one that there's like millions of copies of this out there. Yet it's still selling for $241 with a 90-day average of $221, which is on a downward trend. I think this was around the $250 mark, but as more and more people are submitting their Spawn books, and there's just more and more 9.8s coming back, because during that time when you got it, you probably took good care of this book, because also the quality of the paper was much better, which is why it was also more expensive. Look at the cover price of $195, whereas like the Marvel and DC books were like $1 maybe. I know I've submitted a few that I'm waiting to get back, and they should be 9.8s. This book should maintain, especially since McFarlane said that, or has released a couple more ongoing Spawn books, and the rumored Spawn movie that he's been working on forever. This book should maintain and still be pretty good. You could still get a number 1 out there everywhere for maybe $10 or $20 depending on the grade, maybe even less if places don't really care that much. If you can get this at 9.8, man, you're not spending that much. $240, $220, it's really good. It's a good return. All right, and then we have the last couple ones here. Simpsons number 1. It's the first issue. It's not the first appearance, first issue. Final sale was $275 with a 90-day average of $355. It's on an upward trend. There's not much to say other than this is just a first issue of like a very iconic cartoon series, animated series. I don't see this really going anywhere but up. $275 and $355 is going up. So I think this person probably got a good deal then. $275 when the average is $355. Okay, and then the last one here, this is interesting. It has Goon number 1 from Avatar Press. You can see it has a CVA cert, so I don't know if that has anything to do with what the price is here, but it's the second appearance of Goon. Final sale is $2,322 with a 90-day average of $1,625, and it's on an upper trend. Now here's the thing. That's $1,625 is from a sale in August. So it's been, 4 months, and we don't have another sale. So that's probably why there's such a discrepancy here, price-wise. Was at almost $700 up. So maybe that's a new price, because we just don't see very many Goon number 1s in a 9.8 out there, even for sale. Because you saw the last one sold 4 months ago. So whoever had this was... if it's the same person, that would be awesome. If it was the same person that bought it and then sold it for $700 4 months later, that's a great return. Yeah, I don't know. I think there was some project at some point with this, but I think that was just a rumor. So, all right, well, that's the batch of the books from the 90s here from Comic Link. I always look at Comic Link stuff because they have a lot of higher sales. It looks like them and Heritage, but Comic Link seems to be pretty good. It's always nice to see what the books are going for, because there's always a lot of good stuff that's up there. So this is the first time checking it out and doing a video. Hope you guys like it. Remember, please like, subscribe. We're at 998 subscribers, getting close to that 1,000. Let me know what you guys think about books from the 90s here in a 9.8, going for prices that are crazy like this one. All right, well, thanks for watching, guys. Till next time, see ya.